Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 14 Deadline stream, and it's live. Hope you're well. 3 transfers locked in for me, 2 of them used in this game week. They are Callum Wilson and Billy Gilmore in for Ivan Toney and Brian Mbuemo, Kinder Bueno, whatever that letdown's name is. And just that I know I'm live. I'm happy. I know I'm live. Top captaincy picks for the game week below my team, which you can see top right hand corner of the screen. To the left of the screen, you'll see the schedule and correct score predictions for the week. That will spin round in a minute for you. And also, let me do for you benching dilemmas. Page 1. Tony over King over Armstrong over Cornet over Hwang. Page 2. Hwang over Mbuemo over Gallagher over Benrahma over Smith Rowe. Let's put that on the screen for you now. I think that should be on the screen for you now. He says, hopefully. Page 3 is Smith Rowe over Trossard over Livramento over Johnson over Lamptey. Page 4, Lamptey over Cody over Gay over Lowton over White. And finally, the goalkeepers. Meslier over Sanchez, over Ramsdale, over Gator, over Martinez, where you see the 2 players together on the benching dilemmas below me. The player with the tick is my preferred player of choice to start in your team. They run in order from page 1 to page 5. I'll keep an eye on that for you, make sure it's spinning for you, but it should be. And below me on the grey ticker, you'll see the next 5 fixtures for all 20 Premier League teams. As ever, a shout out to my man on the graphics, FPL Captain. Go give him a follow on Twits. That's Captain with a K. He's the superstar behind the graphics. Right, let's get into your questions over the next 55 minutes or so. I will try and get through as many of your questions as possible, and we'll answer them in the order that they are submitted. Please try and avoid repeat questions. If I answer a similar question, please do the courtesy of deleting it. It'd be very, very much appreciated. FPL Dougal is first. Hey Jimbo, no question from me, but just wanted to say I've gone with 5 premium defenders at the back against your advice from the last Ask James. Thoughts and prayers appreciated. You've gone against it. It's fine. You absolutely can do it. You know why I don't like it? It's because the problem with your bench probably looks horrendous, and in weeks like this, there's every chance you're going to need it. But I don't know what your bench is. Your bench might be great. That's the issue with it that I don't like. Optimus Prime's in, says, hello, who play, Alonso or King? You got to play Alonso, mate. Dylan Farrell says, hi James, do you think Messi deserved the Ballon d'Or? And if not, then who? Nice for him to mention the fast that was Lewandowski not winning his. Another reason why it's a bit of a joke of an award. It's become a bit of a popularity contest. Lewandowski, yes, should have won it. The only thing I will add is recency bias does take over people's memories, and Lionel Messi in the first 6 months of this calendar year was absolutely outstanding. Arguably the first 7 months, actually. The last 4 months have obviously been not great so far for him at PSG, but he was outstanding for Barcelona in the second half of last season. And in the Copa America, he had a very quiet final, which is the majority of what most people are seeing. But in the rest of the tournament, he was very good. But yes, it's no one's taking it too seriously anymore, are they? Really? Kenneth Faz says, hi James, thinking about Smith Rowe to Maddison for the next 2 thoughts. My thoughts are that if you do that, you ain't going to sell Maddison for the 3rd, because that's Newcastle at home. Then it's Tottenham at home, and it's Everton away. So it's not 2, is it? It's probably 5. Unless you're wildcarding in 16, in which case you might still be tempted to keep Maddison. My thoughts on it are, James Maddison's had a good 10 days after a bad 10 months. No interest to me, personally. FPL Finding Glory says, good evening, James. I have a transfer to Burns to seem sensible to strengthen my bench. Davis to Dennis or Breuer, likely move short term. Or would you recommend anyone under 5.5? Good luck. No, those are the 2 to consider, Dennis and Breuer. I prefer Dennis, but when you say short term, it really depends what you're thinking, mate. Because if you're wildcard in 16 like me, then I'd probably go Breuer, especially with the doubt around Dennis's fitness. Although I suspect they'll try and force him through. So it depends. If you're looking any longer than that, like to say 18 or 19, I'd go Dennis, I think, mate. Alex Turner says, hi James, hope all good. I've transferred in James early in the minus 56. Now regretting is looking like a benching incoming. Would you still start him or play Matip Lindelof instead? Matip makes that quite debatable. I think, and this will go for everybody, because I've just had the same conversation actually with my wife. She's got Reece James. why has this guy got a yellow flag? I said, don't think he's going to play, babe. And actually, before Thomas Tuchel's quotes came out this afternoon, I even thought before that he probably wouldn't play this game week. But, as I just said to her, you leave him on the bench and he's in that team. Fuck. And that's the problem. Remember I had this with, and a few of us had this when Rafinha missed out at Southampton. I think it's quite similar to that, where it was like, I don't think he's going to play, but if I leave him on the bench and he plays, I'm going to want to shoot myself. So genuinely, I think if you're sitting there with Reece James, this probably goes similar for Phil Foden, but not quite as much. Start them, generally speaking. Dylan Farrell says also, like the stream, people. Cheers, Dylan. Dylan? Dylan, what a superstar, mate. Yeah, give the stream a thumbs up and a sub. Much appreciated, guys. Ralph Free says, hi, James. With wildcard still intact, whom would you advise to transfer in this game week? Wilson, Gundogan or Reguilon? Thanks for the content. I can't answer that, mate, because I don't know who you want to sell. I'm going to say Callum Wilson as the best option of those three. I've just bought Callum Wilson. It's quite straightforward, isn't it? Harry22 says, hi, James. I'm wildcard in 16. I really thought I was the only twat in the world that was going to be doing this. But is it worth taking a hit to go from Vardy and Buemo to Wilson Jota for the next two fixtures due to the risk of Vardy being rotated? I did a stream with our advanced tier patrons just over an hour ago, and I said to them, I don't think Jamie Vardy will start for Leicester. I take Brendan Rodgers' comments at face value, and I think he's preparing his own supporters for that team sheet dropping and Jamie Vardy not being in it. So I am going to say, yes, go for it, mate. Harry Lewis says, evening, James. Got one free transfer. Is it worth moving Raf up to Jota or should I roll? It's a difficult one because Jota looks the better asset, but it's recency bias. Leeds have got two decent home fixtures this week. I would not want to move it. I'm quite pleased that I'm still sitting there with Rafinha for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to say no. Luke Hopkinson says, hi, James. Set on rolling. Just do I bench Reece for Smith Rowe after looking at Emma's Chelsea predictions? Have a good one, mate. Is that Emma Hayes or a different Emma? Emma who? Literally what I've just covered, Luke. If I had Reece James sitting at start him, that's where I'd be at. I couldn't bear it the other way around. And I honestly don't think he'll start. Are you expecting Smith Rowe to do big things at Old Trafford? Start Reece James, mate. Optimus Prime says, I have Son and Kane and really want to captain one of them. Who? Mo Salah. I also think he could be rested, but I'm not going to go against it. Out of Kane's Son on the screen, mate, Harry Kane. Oscar said, would you do either White to Alonso for free, already own James, or Foden to Gundogan Rafinha for free, or just roll the transfer? Bench is pretty shit. Either Gelhardt or Bissouma first sub. Can you do both? Yikes. I mean, Ben White's definitely going to play for you. I'd see no reason why not, unless he has an injury issue between now and Thursday, which there's nothing you can do about. So I'm tempted to say Foden to Gundo, actually. Again, depends what you're looking at. Like, if you want to buy short term, I'd still go Rafinha for the 2 games. But, I mean, if you're looking at a longer period of, say, 7 game weeks, then it's Gundogan all day long. And he's the City attacking player that's most under consideration for me for that wild card at the moment. So, yeah, Gundogan. And to be honest, if you can do both, I'd consider it. FPL Kaka says he's just rocking with triple Chelsea defence viable option over Xmas period. Alonso, Rudiger and James, I'm thinking. Of course you can, mate. And so just talking about it, considering it, and probably that exact free, I should imagine as well. It's absolutely fine. I don't have any issues with it. They're not going to play every game. Even Rudiger is probably not going to play every single game in December. James and Alonso are clearly first choices. I think in most cases you're going to be okay. It is going to be a problem some weeks. Of course it's viable, mate. Of course it is. Pushkar says, what's your take on the Salah captaincy issue? He's pretty much at 200% effective ownership forever. Does captain other players an opportunity or a blunder? For example, Spurs asset this week. I don't think it's worth the gamble on Kane or Son this week, but spoke about this on the podcast yesterday about let's see where we are going into the weekend, and I might take him on. I might take Salah on the weekend. He goes to Wolves. It's not the easiest fixture. Can he have some joy? Yes, of course. Any game has proven. Kane against Norwich, I might take him on. I'll see how I feel when I come out that ground on Thursday. Sam Holden says, go live. If you were to choose one of these forwards long term to buy, will be between first and second bench most of the time. Starting with good fixtures, King or Breuer. Thanks, mate. Good luck. Josh King, mate. Josh King at the moment looks like he's going to play every game for Watford. So, Josh King. Alex Turner says, which team do you think might surprise us this Christmas with a good run? Tottenham? Might. Watford maybe once they get past the next two. Have got a good run from Gameweek 16. Palace, although I think Anderson's fitness is quite important. They've got a brilliant run from 16 to 20, Crystal Palace. Burnley will have quite a good month. There's a few teams for you. Steve Jones, hi James, big admirer of your glass half full attitude towards how your trip went on Sunday. Oh dear. For my streamers who don't know, obviously I was in Burnley on Sunday. If you had one good sub this week and a good 11, would you roll a transfer or bolster your bench? What's a good sub? Let's take my team for an example. Is Matt Lowton a good sub? I think it's probably a 2-pointer. I got Billy Gilmer after that. It's probably a 2-pointer. But then, how often, when you put players on the bench, how often you actually expect them to return? I guess that's why they're there in the first place. So, yeah, it's okay, Steve. But it also depends who's in your lineup, right? So, if you're sitting there with, like, James and Foden, there's a fair chance you probably want something more. If you're sitting there with Rudiger and Gundogan instead, then you're probably good as, mate. So, it's very dependent. Stephen Hamilton says, evening, James, 0.1 million short on Foden. Foden to Jota and White to Alonso. Would you downgrade Mbeumo from -4 to get that extra 0.1? No, I don't think so. Not for midweek fixtures, I don't think. Can we even be certain that Jota and Alonso start? I mean, who can we be certain starts this week? Kane, Son. We can predict the majority of the Tottenham team. We can predict the majority of the Burnley team. Ironically, we can probably predict the majority of the Manchester City team, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if there's Liverpool rotation against Everton. I don't think it's an absolute certainty that Jota would play. I don't think it's an absolute certainty that Alonso would play. Though I do think, obviously, that both will play. Nah, probably not, mate. Unless you're happy to judge it over a far longer period. If you are, then fine. Like, if you feel that desperate urge of, shit, I've got to get these two players in, then fine, do it. Pushkar says, I own Foden and Tony. Do I move on Foden to Gundogan this week and bench Tony, or simply play him against Spurs and bench hold Foden? It's a really tough one on play Foden over Tony. It's similar. I don't think it's quite as clear cut as the Reece James one, because of Guardiola's comments suggested that it probably will be a substitute appearance. But if Phil Foden gets half hour at Aston Villa, could he do damage? Yeah. It's tight. It's tight. But you also know I have preference for playing the forwards. What are Tottenham, the best defensive team in the world all of a sudden? Probably not. In that case, probably play Tony. Joe Burns says, hi James, Smith Rowe in from Mbeumo, no-brainer. I'm okay with that. It's absolutely fine. I wouldn't describe it as a no-brainer, but I'd describe it as okay. I mean, Brentford's fixtures. Next 3, Tottenham, Leeds, Watford. Not bad. Excuse me, they're not bad. Jassim Jazz, Livramento, intergestion to Alonso, or Mbeumo to Gallagher. 1 free transfer, good luck for the game week. I'm not keen on you being in Livramento, actually. I'm very much debating whether I will or won't win a wild card. But I'm not keen on buying Gallagher at this minute, actually. Leeds away, United away, and there's a couple of games to assess and get an understanding of what potential impact of Ebe Eze returning to that team may be. I don't think Eze will start tonight, but I think by Sunday he might. Tammy Gord says, hey James, Trent captaincy. Same as. I appreciate a captaincy question. I don't get many anymore. Biffin says, hello James, need a replacement for Smith Rowe. Okay, someone's saying buy him, no-brainer. Someone's saying needs to sell him. Strongly considering Bowen, but do you think it's overthinking? Gallagher also an option I can go for as well. Budget is 6.4. Thanks and good luck for the game week. I don't know why you need to sell Smith Rowe. I really don't. Look at them fixtures after this week. I don't. My advice would be keep him. I don't know why you need to sell him. Eshan says, what should my bench order be between Emil, Smith-Rowe, Johnson and Emerson Royal? I would be Emerson Royal first, definitely from that. And I'd have Smith-Rowe just ahead of Johnson. Those two are both on the bench in dilemma screen. You must have some team to be benching Emerson Royal at home to Brentford, I think, is my impression on that. And I'll just give that a second look, buddy. Jamie Shea says, love the content, James. I've double Chelsea and double City defence this week. Tempted to start Johnson and bench Cornet and Bowen. Is it a bad idea? I quite fancy West Ham for a clean sheet. I put it to 1-0. No, just play the Chelsea City guys, mate. Don't try and second guess the rotation. Just stick with them. It'll be what it'll be. Pavanar says, hey James, got 2 free transfers. Thinking of Foden, Livramento to Gundogan, Alonso, or do I just do Gehi to Alonso? Now, I mentioned on yesterday's pod concerns about Palace defensive with Anderson out. But, again, brilliant run of fixtures, 16 to 20. And over that Christmas period, having someone who's going to play every week sitting on the bench be no bad thing, mate. I'd just give that some second thought. But I don't mind that as a move. The upside, obviously, is with Alonso, no doubt about it. Patrick Lawson says, hi, James. Looks like Foden is out still. So, should I sell him for Gundogan or Maddison? Feel I've missed the Jota boat now. That Jota boat could continue for a while, mate. You most likely got 2 more weeks of him, and then 2 amazing fixtures where I'd probably be happy just to have half hour from him. I think Gundogan of the 2, mate. Meninda says, is losing Mount to fund Alonso worth a -4? Found Mount awfully frustrating. I think I've been too patient already. I think he'll start tomorrow though. It's a no from me. FPL Kaka, do you think Liverpool rest their whole team against Milan in the Champions League? They bloody should. And I know as a Milan fan, you probably appreciate that. The likes of Salah, Jota and Martin should not, Van Dijk and all that, should not be going. It should not be going. There's no excuse. So they should. And they've earned the luxury to be able to do that. Josh says, hi James, 2 free transfers and Foden the only concern and Buemo first sub. Want it for next game week, but if I don't sell him, I'll probably burn the transfer. Gallagher or Cornet in. So you've got 2 free transfers, Foden the only concern. Want it for next game. If I don't sell him, I'll probably burn the transfer. So Josh should say to you, go back and look at it and say Cornet would be the preference of the 2. If you go Cornet for this week, what are you doing next week? Cornet's got Newcastle. So is this someone else then you can then move on to go back to Foden should you want to? Or can you chain it to a Gundogan or a defensive player, for example? I think when you're in the luxury for the 2 free transfers, I'd probably move it unless you've got mass value held in the player, which I'm guessing you probably don't. I think go Cornet, mate. Go Cornet. And then if you still got 2 frees, you can reverse it, right? Joe Finney Baddis has got the exact money to do Buemo to Gundogan or roll a transfer. Would mean playing Tony, but I really want this Kinder Bueno as far away from my team as possible. Yeah, bin the Kinder Bueno, mate. Owen Walsh says, evening James, would you hold Trossard from next 2? If not, where should I go? 6.7 million max. Cheers. West Ham away, Southampton away. I'm not keen. Brighton attacking players, just I want to shoot myself in the face, I think, from a fantasy perspective. In terms of where to go, for the next 2, Rafinha, if it's there and it's affordable, right in front of your face. Really out there punt for you, Ryan Fraser. Lucas Moura, if it's just for 2, I don't mind the Lucas Moura punt for the 2 games. Particularly as Tottenham obviously had the last one postponed. Cornet, there's lots where you can go there, mate. And I think, West Ham always tough. I'd move it, I think, mate. Jose Vargas says, when do we sell Trossard? Was thinking maybe Bowen in 16. Or yeah, you can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Rupert Liddell says, hi James, would you start Foden or Tony? As covered for someone else previously. Anviro, hi James, Vardy to Kane this week for -4. Mount to Gallagher or Smith-Rowe. I'd want to see this impact on Gallagher, as I've already said. So I'd actually prefer to buy Smith-Rowe. I presume you want to do that to open the money. Smith-Rowe is going to be the preference for me, actually, yeah. Jeremy Khaled, start Nacho or Tony. Good luck. Wow. I'll tell you what, if you're sitting there with Kelechi and Nacho in your team, I'd start him. I'd go for it. definitely go for it. Static said, got the exact money to go Bissouma to Gundogan. Would play Gundogan ahead of Tony this week. Thoughts? Sounds like a want versus a need. I don't mind it. If that's what you want to do as your preference, I can understand why you want to make that sort of move. Gives you a little bit better coverage for this week as well. If you lose a player, you may end up with both anyway. So I'm going to say yes, go for it. Pushcar says, sorry, last question here. Ask as many as you like, mate, as long as you're quick enough. Quick take on the best forwards in this festive period. A few good ones run into difficult fixtures. Chris Wood, to throw a name out. I'm not seeing him many teams at the moment. I think could have a decent little winter spell. Patrick Bamford's coming back to fitness soon, but I don't like the fixtures. Newcastle's turns rough soon. Harry will be in and around it. Dennis and King from 16, honestly. But if you pin me in terms of like from now all the way through, yeah, Chris Wood is a name for you. Philip Sutzer, hi James, thanks for all the great content. Thoughts on Vardy and Shimikas to Kane and Davis / died. Which one? Died. Davis died. It's meant to be Davis or Dyer, isn't it? I love that. Honestly, I think if you're not in the wildcard space, i.e. you don't still have the first, I would probably buy Eric Dyer out of the two. Shimikas, did Shimikas fall to 3.8? Did I see that correctly? No one needs to put that in the chat. But I mean, wow. That needs keeping an eye on, doesn't it? It's like as soon as Robertson gets injured, bang, how do I get there? Good evening, Nick Griffith. I hope you're well, mate. Jamie Anthony, hi James. Would you take a -4 and go Dyer to Alonso? No. No, not with the two fixtures Tottenham have got this week, mate. No. Patrick says, hi James, any news on Tony? Limped off pretty heavily holding his strapped up knee. Not heard anyone mention it. Have a good one. My understanding is no problem, Patrick. Personally, obviously hope he misses out. No offence to anyone else. Just, Tottenham bias. Matthew Liffick, start 2. Gallagher, Rafinha and King. It'll be King and Rafinha for me. Although, note, for Sky listeners, I probably am going to captain Conor Gallagher tonight in Sky. Different game, different strategy. But yeah, I'd go King and Rafinha, mate. Dalton NG, I think Watford will score. Dalton NG, hi James, would you do Mbuemo to Gallagher or Rafinha to Gundogan or just roll? I don't like either of them, mate. Again, I'm not keen on buying Gallagher at the moment. We need to see this Eze impact, I think. I'm not down with binning Rafinha with those two fixtures. Not down with that at all. Matthew Hall, play 2 out of 3. Foden, James, Tony. I hope this isn't in the benching dilemmas. It's not, mate, because I thought most people would be in a situation where Foden and James would still start them. But I forgot how much panic we get. James has got to play, in my opinion. Even though I don't think he'll start, you go with it. Do you know what the probable answer is here, Matthew? Play James and Foden and you'll end up with Tony in your team anyway, and it probably won't matter, mate. Yo says start McCarthy or Ramsdale. McCarthy or Ramsdale. McCarthy just. I bet you could toss a coin between them, I think. Mbuemo, Huang King, start 2. I'd leave out Mbuemo. Tom Kelly says, hi James, good evening to you. Wildcarding in 16. I'm changing Benrahma for Jota. This means shipping out Antonio too. Would you say Pukki or Benteke? How long are we judging this for? I think Pukki will score tonight. Benteke, mate. Shifo says, thoughts on Breuer, Havertz out, Wilson Cornet in -4. Non-FPL, who's Chelsea's best front 3? Mine, Lukaku, Mount, Pulisic. Yeah, probably agree with that front 3 in terms of when they're at their max capabilities, yes. And I don't mind the -4. I think it's okay. Jonathan Boland says, Ronaldo and Gallagher for Jimenez and Son, a good move. Nah, Ronaldo, we covered this for the patrons this morning. Ronaldo's going to end this game week as the last goal scorer of this game week. He's like written in everybody's stars because that's just what he does. He's turn up late and do his thing. I wouldn't want to move. But Ronaldo's now coming into the good fixtures. Now we want to bin him. It's not for me. Jimenez has got Burnley at home and then disgustingly bad fixtures. You want Son, right? The more simplistic move here to me, if you haven't got Harry Kane, would be, if you want to, Ronaldo to Kane for 2 weeks and then back to Ronaldo is one way of doing it, possibly. I'm not keen. I know that's selling Gallagher, which I don't mind at the moment. I'm not keen, Jonathan. You've got to the point of Ronaldo's good fiction. Now I want to bin him. I wouldn't. David Hannigan, Jimenez to Armstrong or Foden to Gundogan. Why wouldn't bin Jimenez this week? Next week, maybe. Not now. So, Gundogan. Mario B. Hey, James Vardy to Kane or Mbeumo to Bernardo Silva. Harry Kane, mate. Pedrosa, Foden to Jota. Yeah, don't mind it. And there's a lot. Oh, missed the bus. Yeah, you can still catch the bus if you run fast enough. Alistair Coper says, hey, mate, well done remembering to press the go live button. Cool, confirmation. Was wondering what your current plan wildcard side is. I ain't got a clue, mate. Thinking of Smith Rowe, Gallagher in 16. Some interest if either in plans. I ain't got that far, mate. I gave a brief plan to the patrons, which basically left an empty space in the midfield area, which said, I don't know what I'm doing there yet. And I don't care. I'll look on Saturday when I activate the wildcard, mate. I know structurally what I want to do with a lot of the team, but a lot of it's going to come down to budget. Are those players under consideration for me? Yes. Because I love Gallagher's fixtures from 16, obviously, and we might understand the influence of Eze by then. And Smith Rowe's got good fixtures. So are those players going to be under consideration? Yep, absolutely they will be, mate. Yusuf says, hi, transfer out Rafinha or Foden for Jota. It's a Foden, mate. Zaris says, should I keep Vardy or should I take a -4 for Jota and Tony? You're taking a -4 for Tony now, mate. Press the like button, guys, and subscribe. He is the best. Greetings from Greece. Cheers, Zaris. You're my favourite customer from Greece. Much appreciated, mate. You're not taking a -4 for Tony, mate. Unless you're saying Vardy to Tony and now enables you to get Jota. But then I think there are probably better forwards to go and get rather than Tony. I'm going to guess Callum Wilson probably wouldn't fall into that bracket for you at the moment. But I'd rather buy Chris Wood, I think. Jamie Shea said, realistically, who would you like Spurs to bid for in January? A centre-back who can pass the ball, preferably left-footed, and a midfielder who can pass the ball. I'm not too fussy otherwise, mate. James Bishop's I'd pass forward. James Bishop says, evening, James. Diaz to Alonso or roll transfer. I have James and Cancelo. Diaz certainty to start tonight with Laporte out. If it's a luxury, fine. Go and get Alonso. You know the upside. But I'm also backing City for a clean sheet. And I've said I think Watford will score. So I'm going to say no. Sayers says, Bernardo or Gundogan. Better pick for next 5-6 game weeks. My preference is going to be Gundogan. 11 I am Ross Kenny. Which two from Tony, Wilson, Antonio, please, James? To play, Wilson, Antonio. To buy, probably still the same two. Zaris says, should I play Reguilon or Jimenez King? Jimenez, then King, then Reguilon would be my preference on that. Most would go Reguilon over King, just bear that in mind. Ben M, bench Hwang, Reguilon or Mbeumo. You'll find all of them except Reguilon on the bench in dilemma screen. I will play Reguilon over the other two. I will play Hwang over Mbeumo. Gray's F6 motivation. Hello, bench Gallagher or Armstrong. They're both on the bench in dilemma screen, mate. Have a look. Page 1's got Armstrong. Page 2's got Gallagher. I kind of give you the answer there, haven't I? Gary Smith. Whoa, what's all this? Hi, James. Gary, as an old friend of ours from the Champman FPL streams, he's normally late for everything. I get the impression that Gary's just turned up to one of my Deadline streams for the first time ever. I think he normally misses Saturday mornings because I suspect he's the sort of dude that doesn't get up till lunchtime. NS and Garney 25 says, hi mate, I'm also on wildcard 16. There's someone else as well. Tempted to do Foden and Livramento to Gundogan and Alonso for a -4, but would mean benching Tony. Reckon it's worth it. Own Ruddy and no James. Already have Jota. No, it's probably not. It's probably not. Although I like what you're trying to buy there. But I'm not sure. Oh, fuck it. It's December. Nearly. Go for it. Dan L says, hi James. Bought in Jota for Saka. I hope you have a great game week. You too, my friend. Thanks as always for the support. Mosh says, Alonso captain. Yeah. 100%. Best captain option ever. Yo says, sorry for asking the question that was available in a bench dilemma. Didn't notice. Hope you had a not very bad trip to Burnley. Cheers, mate. Love that. Tom Campbell, my best buddy, says, evening, James. Tom, we need to have a beer soon, mate. This month's too busy though. I'm kicking myself for not backing my VVD shout last game week. Any love for going to LFC defenders over Christmas? And if so, VVD over Robbo with TAA? Nah, I'd still want Robbo, mate. I'd still want Robbo. Super differential, wasn't it? It was the little glimpse that the returns might be coming back for Robbo as well. So I'd still be preference Robbo. But Tom, you're an outstanding FPL manager. You got that fancy for VVD. Go for it, mate. I'd be concerned of would he get the odd rest as well. Robbo's a bit of a machine. I think we know Shimikas will play now and again. I don't think VVD's guaranteed to play every game in December, mate. I look at fixtures like Newcastle at home, Leeds at home, Villa at home. Maybe not the Villa at home so much, actually. But I could see him getting left out for one of those two really nice home fixtures, actually. FPL telling Josh, afternoon James, sorry to ask for bench order for this week. King, Gilmore, Livramento is what I have. Not sure if Gilmore should be moved to first sub. Thanks, mate. I'd move Gilmore to third sub, mate. FTLOL podcast, afternoon James, which one would you drop for Region? I have 2 free transfers, so can't roll. Well, you could if your name was Suj. Do you know what? I'm going to phone that bastard in a bit. Someone remind me. Gahey, White or Livramento? Which one would you drop for Regon? Gay, White, Liverman. Liver has 4.4 value for me. Then it might not be the worst time to bin it, mate. It might not be the worst time to bin it, but I'd prefer the idea of, like, I'm thinking of getting Johnson on wildcard, right? And that Livermento might go for me then. So I'm stealing the value and I'm saving money in one go. I kind of prefer that. It's tough. It's tough, that. But I would want to keep the attacking player from that, I think. I'm going to say Bin Gahi, actually, of the two. Chris Jargo says, hello again, James. Foden to Gundogan, I know you like. Or Foden and MacArthur to Maddison and Bowen. -4 for bench. I'm not loving that -4, Chris. Bowen, I've got big eyes on, but no, I'm not loving that yet. Bowen might be one for me in 16, I think. They've got Chelsea at the weekend, mate. I'm not loving that. So the Gundo switch is fine. Beth Media says, hi James, any chance Sakiri comes on for you? No, he never gets auto-subbed in, oddly enough. Chris Hermitage says, thoughts on Tony? Do you know what? It's been very nice to have him sit there all season. He's lost no value. He's been of no concern to me. I've just been playing a 14-player game. Chris Hermitage says, thoughts on Tony to St. Maximin for the next 2 free transfer. Phil Newcastle will be very attacking for these 2 home games. Yeah, I'm happy for anyone who's got that plan for the 2 games to go into St. Maximin or Wilson. I don't even mind if someone was really struggling for money. And it was 2 weeks and they were wildcarding in 16. I wouldn't even mind you going for Joel Linton. Someone will clip that. Gary Warwood says, I love these midweek games because they are on when I'm awake here in New Zealand and it means I actually get to watch your deadline stream for once. Welcome, Gary. I fucking hate them. My day doesn't even finish when I do the deadline stream. We're recording Clash to Correspondence tonight as well. Virgil Todorov says, is there any player up to 8.5 million that could justify taking a hit to sell Foden? A hit? Again, it's a little bit dependent, Virgil, on what you got on your bench, right? If you got good coverage this week, I wouldn't sweat it. I'd swing again and go and hope it'll be all right. Because then he walks into Watford this weekend and the problems continue and he's got amazing fixtures. So I'm going to say no, but if you've got a shit bench, yeah, I'd smash him out to Jota personally. FPL telling Josh, also notice your score prediction screen not rotating to show scores. Man, bad times this shit. Let's try. See if that gets us working. Thanks for pointing out. I'll keep an eye on that. Jason still in. Schedule's not... Oh, fuck. Cheers, Jason. Thanks, mate. Liam Chalmers taking a punt on Joe. Desperate. Callum Hudson-Odoi. He should be on everyone's radar. What is he? 5.3 million or something? It's flattest to the sea, isn't it? It even starts tonight. Ricky Donahoe. Evening, James. I've Salah captain. Would you vice captain Jota or Son? Son, mate, because I just think you're probably better off going with players from different games, would be my opinion. Let's take that off and try again, for fuck's sake. There's always something. Ricky, that's the one I just done. Yeah, I'd captain players in different games, ideally. FPL Sponge, Foden's a Jota, a no-brainer transfer. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Gatum says, hi James, thoughts on getting Mount for Foden? Not keen. I do think he'll start tonight, but I'm not massively keen on that, I'll be honest. Sheila says, Jimenez, Antonio plus Livramento to King and Alonso 2-3 transfer and play 5 at the back with triple Chelsea defence and Bremer to Smith Rowe. Fucking hell, I'm confused. Jimenez or Antonio to Livramento. You don't want to sell Jimenez this week, but I feel like you come this far with Antonio. It's only like 4 more days to go, and then you're going to want him back. Not keen, mate. I'd probably just swing with it. And maybe look at dipping Antonio to Wilson for 2 and going back. Might be an alternative. Luxury Lifestyle, Saka and Jimenez for Jota and Benteke for 3. And why anyone wants to sell Raul Jimenez this week? I don't understand that. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. That is, you want Jota and Jimenez at home to Burnley is going to be your full guy. I'm sorry. I don't like it. Jose Vargas, Spanners, the schedule is not showing expected scores. Is that feature gone? Nah, it's sorted now, mate. I'm on the case. Don't worry. Sack Batsios, I love you, lad. Sack, thanks. James, I didn't want to be caught saying something like, I love your sack. James Ingram says, White to Reguilon for 3. Have 2 transfers and have wildcards still left to play. Yeah, like that transfer. That's fine, James. Love the shows. Good luck this game week. Cheers, James. Want no graphics? Hello, James. Would you downgrade a goalie like Mendy Edison to get funds for a more attacking point scoring player? Ideally, yes. But when you've got the luxury to do it, which if you do, crack on, yeah. But then preference would probably be Ramsdale, and I'd say, well, no, not now. Not now. You want to do it at a point where it looks at least mildly rough. So, I mean, you could make a case, could you move Mendy on Saturday? Otherwise, you wait until game week 21. Really? If you've got Mendy, there's every chance we're looking to sell him in game week 21 anyway, because the AFCON, if it goes ahead, and then because of the Club World Cup, if it goes ahead. If you missed the news, Chelsea likely to blank in game week 24 and 25. Also means a blank for Brighton and Arsenal. Very unlikely that those games will be rearranged before the Club World Cup, and most likely to happen in spare Champions League midweeks. Tottenham and West Ham can only take place in January if Tottenham lose to West Ham in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. There you go, there's some chip strategy stuff done for you. Jack Attack says, get Rudiger or Alonso for Chilwell. I mean, at this stage, if I didn't have, I'd buy Alonso. Popolkit says, Saka and Antonio to Jota and King for a hit. Again, we're making moves here that I'm not sure we want to for Jota. I don't mind coming down to King, but we're not actually expecting anything off him in the next 2, I think. Fuck it. It'll make you happy. Go for it. And Mark says, no score predictions this game week. Yeah, they're on the screen. I got there. Andrew08 says, hi James, I need a 1-week punt defender to transfer in for Marcel, 4.3 million with 0.0 in the bank. Only has to play this week as I'm wildcard in game week 16. Who'd you go for? We can't go for Ben Davis then, that's too expensive. To be honest, Ryan 8 Nori is probably the one. Or Ben Johnson, West Ham. But to be honest, I mean, I'm predicting a clean sheet for West Ham. I think some would say perhaps a clean sheet for Wolves is more likely. So 8 Nori or Johnson would be your options, I think. Ruben Partridge says, hi James, hope you're well. Thinking of Saka and Buemo to Gundogan and Semedo to Alonso for a hit. So it's Saka or Buemo. We're not going to get the Arsenal news, unfortunately. I think this week, that's probably a move on Saka, unfortunately. At least you got the return out of him at the weekend. Gundogan and Semedo to Alonso for a hit. Thoughts? So you're going Gundogan and Alonso for a hit. Yeah, I think that's fairly reasonable. It's okay. But Semedo has a decent fixture as well. Dion Chung, good evening, James. Why is Antonio not on the captaincy list? That's a good question. My general thought process, and I think he'll start, but that's why he's not there. Because I think in between playing Manchester City and Chelsea, there has to be enough reasonable doubt to not consider him as a captaincy option. You're the first person to mention it to me, and we're 17 minutes to the deadline. I think that says enough, really. Ben it's a fair comment. Like, if he plays, I'd probably stick him in there somewhere. But I think there's enough doubt, plus his form, to just say no at the moment. Dan J. Porter, hi James, first bench of Livramento or Breuer, and would you start either ahead of James? Many thanks. First bench of Livra or Breuer, and would you start either ahead of James? Many thanks. I think Breuer will start, so probably go him over Livra. Livra's almost definitely going to play though. No, I wouldn't start him over Reece James, mate. Rabbi says one to start: Livramento, White, and Buemo or Gilmore. And Buemo. Toby Evanson says, hi James, great content as always. I'm dropping Tony and Pinnock for King and Alonso. Is that a good move for this week? You've already told me that you're going to do it, Toby, so I'm going to say yes. Sean W says, Sky question: Cody to Tony on Thursday as Wolves fixture turn, and Tony covers a captain today versus Watford worth a transfer. So then you're going to get 3 for 1 becomes effective 4 for 1. You're going to captain Tony against Watford. I don't mind it. I don't actually mind that at all. All you need to do for that to be okay, Sean, and the really important question to answer is, and only you can answer it really, go back to your plan. After the Watford game, you are going to want to sell him. So what are you doing then? That's all. That's the only thing I ask you to go back and consider on that. Next to 7 says, when are you wildcarding? Anyone know? Anyone heard? Anyone heard when I'm wildcarding? Any idea? No? Okay. Tobion says, hi James, still got Havertz somehow. Surely he's just a hold for this game week. Would you keep or sell, mate? Good luck. Me and Sij have a bit of a differential team going, and Havertz is in that team, and that's the conclusion we came to. One more week. Ali Bismo says, sell Diaz to Alonso for -4. That's a no. Jonathan Nagy says, evening James, what do you think Suj will end up doing this game week? I'm gonna phone him. I'm gonna phone him in 10 minutes and ask him what he's doing. I think he's gonna burn a transfer. FPL Aussie says Kane and Norman to Jota and Wilson worth a -4. Kane and Norman, Jota and Wilson worth. Hang on, you selling Kane? Fucking hell! Oh my god. Please don't sell Harry Kane. Please. This time next week, I'm going to sell Harry Kane. Bomb him out from -12. Please don't sell Harry Kane this week, mate. Please don't do that. Dylan Kennedy says, hey, mate, who's to replace Diaz with? Either Cancelo, Alonso, or James? Cancelo. Ben AU, hey, James, how's it going? What are you expecting from Spurs given the rest they got? I'm expecting a much better performance than some of the shit I've been watching, and I expect us to go and win the game. So I expect us to win both games this week. We've got to win them 2 games. Size1 says, where your match predictions always made? They're to the left of me, pal. Elias says, Wilson or Gucci for a 2-week punt. See, the thing is, I'm not down with the kids, right? I don't know who Gucci is. Who's he play for? Is he Italian? Is he San Marini's? What is he? I'm going to say Wilson and I suppose. Alex Turner says, I've still got Havertz in Sky. Would you risk him for a start this week? Well, you can find out tomorrow, Alex, right? You'll get to see the team. And obviously, if he's not in the team, you can buy someone tomorrow night if you want. I wouldn't sell him tonight. I'd sell him tomorrow if he's not in the team. Or possibly move him on Thursday. Sam Atkins says, Jota on a 4.5 million v Smith Rowe and Gallagher. Thank you again for all of the brilliant content and for the December freebie for us Patreon subscribers. You're very welcome, Sam. It's a little bit dependent, Sam. Again, what's on your bench? So you add in a 4.5 midfielder to a pile of shit, which is probably not advisable during December. But I'm not keen on buying Smith Rowe or Gallagher this week, particularly. So I'm going to go with your Jota option. You can always fix it back. Francis Logan says, evening, play Zaha or instead Hwang. Vardy captain against Southampton's McCarthy looks terrible. Oh, Francis have said, I think there's every chance Vardy won't start. So, again, I mean, Jamie Vardy is not on my top 10 captaincy picks. I mean, there's only one reason why, isn't there? I would play Zaha over Hwang, personally. Tiny King, hi James, hope you're well. Love the chat about your experience in the snow at Burnley. I was over in Sheffield and I've never seen snow like it either. What's your preferred cinema snack? Popcorn. We went to the cinema the other week. It's the first time I've been for about 5 years. I think probably since the last Bond film. George Nibbs says, hi James, hope you're well. Play one of them, Buemo, Livramento, King or Ben Johnson. Also bench order for the rest. Nice one, lad. If you have a look, George, all 4 of them players are on the benching dilemma screen. It runs from page 1 to 5 below me. You can work it out for yourself from there, I'm sure, mate. Omar Hanny says, hello, James. What do you think of Vardy to Wilson move? I'm okay with that, actually. Yeah, I'm all right with it. VJ says, Captain Kane or Salah. What do you think, VJ? Let us know. Let everyone in the chat know, VJ, what you want to do. A man Khan says, thanks for the Brandon Williams over Alonso call last week, James. Oh, frame that. Someone screenshot that. Should I now bring in Alonso for Diaz or Livramento? Should I now bring in Alonso for Diaz or Livramento, or just play Armstrong, roll the transfer? I might think Armstrong might be the one to miss out for Saints. I mean, if you can go Alonso to Livramento Alonso, do it. Sod it. Everyone wants these premium defenders at the moment. Josh says, thanks for the response, James. If I went corner, yes, I'd want him for Newcastle so I could sell Antonio and Buemo to get Foden back. But would that be daft since most want him game week 16, 18 onwards? You can go back. I think you've said it. There's no guarantee Foden's even going to play at Watford at the weekend, is there? So, yeah, crack on, mate. He doesn't have to be corner you sell. There's different ways of manipulating, Josh. There's got to be. I obviously can't see all your team, but I think go for it, mate. Andrew Grondin says, hi James, have you heard of this Morpay fella? Nope. Never heard of him. Who's he play for? Chris Jarga says 3.3 million euros for Liverpool win in Champions League group stage. Won't Paul be tempted? Yeah, it was 2.5 million or so. I don't know if that equates to like the same thing, Chris, but I'd put it like this, right? Is 2.5 million to Liverpool worth it over the possible risk of the league title? And is that going to be, it's looking like it's going to be that close between the 3 teams, whichever one's most consistent does the business. No one can tell me it makes any sense for any first team Liverpool player, i.e. basically the 11 that played against Southampton. You can maybe say Conte or stuff like that, right? But generally speaking, no one can tell me there's any sense in any of them players playing in Milan for the sake of 2.5 million. If they win the Champions League, they make 100 million. What's 2.5 million? Nah, honestly, if he made the mistake last year, we played players in Midtjylland they shouldn't have played, and Jota got injured. If the same happens again, and then, by the way, they went on a horrific run afterwards. I'm not saying it's because of specifically Jota's injury. But if the same happens again, nah. None of them players should even be travelling to Milan. They're done. Don't forget about it. This period's too busy. VJ has asked twice. Actually, VJ, don't let us know. No one wants to know. Martin Salin says, Vardy not 10 for captaincy. Why? Just explained. EL1, does the tick on the benching dilemmas mean you should bench them or not? Play them, mate. It's about 8 minutes to deadline, and I'm going to phone Serge. Fuck it. Because I'm bored of some of these questions. I want to see what he's done. Thank you, Rasmus, by the way. Ramanfund, thank you to you too. Please at the person so I'd know you're responding. Much appreciated, though. Sartak, Gundo for Bernardo. Well, it was all the rage for Bernardo. Now Gundogan scored. We want to sell Bernardo, do we? No, just let that carry on, mate, I would say. Demetrius asked the same question. I mean, I would buy Gundogan, but I wouldn't sell Bernardo to Gundogan when everyone's been raving about him so much. Eliezer says, hi, James, best striker options under 7 million. Depends how long you're asking for, mate. So I'd probably, if it's over the next 10 game weeks, Josh King. But if you don't like the next 2, you might want to look at someone who does have a good 2, like Alan St. Maximin, for example. If you're somewhere in the middle, maybe Chris Wood. If you want a 1 week punt, Raul Jimenez. If you've got the money, Harry Kane for the next 2. Oh, you said under 7 million in fairness. Ali Jaffa says, evening. Hello, mate. Evening to you too. Harendra says, non-FPL, so can ask later, but Did you know Ross Dowsett, FPL Raptor, played with Cole Walker-Peters at Spurs? If so, how did you rate him? No, I didn't know that, but I'll certainly ask Ross next time I speak to him. KWP's problem was short, essentially. He's better than Doherty by a million miles, but Mourinho was never going to have him because he's too short, and unfortunately it's as simple as that, basically. Right, I want to know what this bastard's done. Demetrius, once is enough with Gundo or Bernardo, mate. David Tyner says, hi James, will you be ditching Sarr with the upcoming fixtures? You might have heard I'm wildcarding soon.
James?
Oh, hello mate, you watching my Deadline stream?
Nah bro, I'm trying to get falafel and pizza for my son's birthday party along with some beers.
However, I
have made my transfer.
Oh, blimey. You actually made the deadline?
Yeah. I sold Ben White.
You sold Ben White? Hold on. Can I guess who you've bought? How much money did you have?
I had 5.1.
You've bought fucking Emerson Royal, haven't you?
I did not.
Did you buy Reggie?
Regulion.
Yeah, Reggie.
Regulion.
He's gone for a bit of Reggie sauce.
I'm playing him ahead of Conor Gallagher as well.
I like that.
I'm going to play him ahead of Conor Gallagher. Let's go.
I told you, mate.
Shout out to all the YouTube crew watching.
I don't know if they can hear you. I think they can.
Lovely jubbly.
All right, enjoy your boy's birthday. Laters, mate.
Will do. See you later.
Ciao.
Bye.
Fucking hell. I suggested that move to him this morning, finally. Sartek says, hello, James. Looking for another green arrow. Would you do Bernardo to Gundo? I've just covered. God, Demetrius, you love that repeat question, didn't you? I tell you what, Demetrius, I'm going to give you a chance, right? Between now and this stream finishing in 20 minutes, I'm going to ask you to go back and delete all their messages, or otherwise I'm just going to delete you permanently from these streams, mate. Cheers. David Tyner says, hi, James. Will you be ditching sold at coming fixtures? No, 16 wildcard. But yeah, it'll go. He won't be in the wildcard team. Precious says, the sheer content you guys put out is commendable. Thanks for the great work. Cheers and all the best. Shh. Good luck to you, mate. Pavan says, Alonso or Reguilon? Depends. How long for? 2 weeks? Reguilon. Anything longer? Probably Alonso. Toby says, James, which is your preferred format of fantasy football, Sky or FPL? Hope you have a good game week since listening to your pod. I've actually improved. Good. Glad to hear it, Toby. You're probably not listening to me. Sky, mate. All day long. Sky. Sidar says, think it's a good time to take a punt on Kane as many managers would be captain Jota, TAA, Alonso. Fuck me, can you see that tumbleweed? What are we talking about here? Captain Jota, TAA, Alonso, time to punt on Kane. You've forgotten about the 200%, man. Eliezer says, Mbuemo to Gallagher or Adam Armstrong to Alan St. Maximin Pookie. God, get St. Maximin for 2 weeks, mate. Stewie Bryan's lowing. I don't know what. Owen Boyd, should I transfer out Aubameyang? If so, who would you pick and can afford anything under his price? I'd go really short-term gains, mate, and I'd go Callum Wilson. Jackson O'Mahony, 1 free transfer, 0.2 in the bank. Would you go Rudiger to Alonso? No, I'd roll, mate. Vessam A, worried about Foden cameo. Should I start Breuer and bench Foden? Nah, I play Foden, mate. And Damsey, excuse me, will it be okay to triple captain Salah? Listen, be a hero. Yeah, it could be. I mean, you'll be beating everyone else, but there's going to be better opportunities, mate. There's going to be better opportunities. Everton away, out of the 38 game weeks that Mo Salah has in the season, you think Everton away is the best one? And Damsey says, that's what I've just done. Suphem. Duffy and Foden out, Gundogan and Lamptey in, or Gallagher and Alonso in. Thanks. Can you go Cornet and Lamptey? Because I just prefer that. No, Gundogan and Lamptey in, mate. Arham, hi mate, bench Wang or Armstrong? They're on the bench in dilemma screen, not far from each other, page 1 and 2. Paul Run says, Captain Son. I don't like capital letters, mate. You haven't even spelled captain right. No offence, mate. There's a clue, bottom right hand corner of the screen. Nick Edmonds, which goalkeepers you think to replace Sarr on your wild card? I'll have loads under consideration, mate. Ramsdale, Sanchez. Wouldn't even rule out Nick Pope if it's affordable. De Gea, definitely under consideration. The Bravkanay's back fit. Backman. I might even go Backman and Foster, to tell you the truth. I'll tell you one I won't go for is fucking Alex McCarthy. Just saying. James Nelson. James, really admire your positivity after the trip to Bali. What can I do other than laugh about it? Have you always been so positive? It's a great trait to have. One of the many reasons I love the pod. I appreciate that, mate. There's no point going out and crying about it. And the honest reality is, the truth is, if the game had played and we'd lost, I'd feel worse. So we got another chance. We might get to play him in the sunshine in April instead. And Antonio Conte might have us looking like a good team by then. So look, it's bigger picture. Reality, truthfully, first thing went through my mind was, because I wasn't going to get home till about 10 o'clock if the game was on, the first thing that went through my mind was, if I get out of here now, I'll get to see my son before he goes to bed. So that's a good positive, right? Stewie Bryan says, Wang King, now Armstrong. Is that a play on something? Or it sounds like something you get at a theatre, isn't it? And live performance tonight of Wang King, now Armstrong. 11 Iron Ross Kenny, thanks mate. Did mean play, not buy. Good luck this game week. Like and follow everyone. Cheers. Deadline from 7 o'clock as far as I'm concerned, everyone. So make sure you're locked in. Alright, if you came for just the FPL, wish you luck for the game week. Next deadline stream is 10 a.m. Saturday morning. Bye. Not really. Let me sell Patreon to you, because tomorrow is the 1st of December. This month, all basic tier patrons will have access to the intermediate tier podcasts. There are an anticipated additional 22 podcasts on our Patreon network, which kicks off tomorrow with our regular Wednesday feature. Tottenham on Thursday on Patreon. Ask James. Sorry, midweek fixtures. It's going on Patreon this week. That's exclusive to all patrons. Friday will be our Game Week 15 preview. Those are the podcasts we kick off with. All intermediate tier patrons, £8 a month, will have access to all advanced tier video content this month, which includes a news roundup from me on Wednesday. This Thursday's Talking Tactics is going to be having a closer look at Leeds United and asking, is there a problem? I don't know which way that video is going to swing yet until I watch them tonight. Although, because I'm recording Clash of the Correspondents tonight, I probably won't get to watch that till tomorrow, unfortunately. And on Friday, we have our team news stream for our patrons, intermediate and advanced tiers as well, 3:30 p.m. UK. And with the intermediates in there, that will be quite lively. I'm looking forward to that. Podcast for the rest of the week. Sky Fantasy Football tomorrow. Clash of Correspondents Thursdays, Tottenham, Brentford. Yeah, but James, this after the deadline. Well, we're going to talk about the two teams and preview the game that night. And we'll talk about Brentford's trip to Leeds. And we'll talk about Tottenham's game against Norwich. It's like a double whammy. That's with Ricky Saunders and Tom Med. And on Friday, you get Season 5, Episode 21, everyone. That's reviewing all the Game Week 14 action. We'll get that out for you as early as possible for you on Friday. If you want to support our content on Patreon, and please join Patreon because you want to support the content and the effort that me and Suj put into things. Now, honestly, is a great time. There's no long-term commitment. £3 a month is going to get you 22 podcasts. And if you don't like it in the new year, you can say, that's not for me. Thank you very much. And we'll appreciate you either way. And to our existing patrons, love you all. Right. Anybody's got any non-FPL questions, throw them in the chat now. And I'm happy to cover them for a little bit. Thanks, Joe Finley Badder, for some sterling work. I've seen you there, mate. Let's get to the end of the chat. I should have done that before I started yapping, didn't I? I normally get done, Joe. Stian says, if you woke up tomorrow with a mullet, how would your missus react? Well, we've got clippers here, so just go, mate, wouldn't it? Biffek says, and Bremo, I can't believe I'm still playing after kicking Tony out last week. Hafiz says, what will you be doing with Saar next week? Well, Saar might even go for me this week coming now, because I've got one free transfer for 1 week punt for game week 15. And if I don't have any injury problems, I might even change it. Depending on what's available for me. There's a few I could look at. Meslier, I get a first-hand look at Brentford on Thursday if I'm not fancying them. Maybe Meslier for the weekend is always capable of a nice score. Maybe even Dubravka against Burnley. I don't think I'll be able to get to Loris against Norwich. Ramsdale at Everton. There's a few I might consider as 1 week punts to move him on. If not, then obviously he's going on the wild card. FPL Kaka said, what has been your favourite non-Spurs kit ever? Mine has to be the purple Fiorentina with Nintendo as their sponsors. I had this question the other way, and I said the iconic one's the Brazil 82 shirt for me. It's a really, really iconic one. I think the majority of really old-style Brazil kits were always very iconic to me. Patrick Donnelly says, have you bought your Amazon subscription for the month? I've got it all year round, mate. It comes free with some shit that we've got. So it's not a problem for me, actually. Sam Holden says, Clash of the Correspondents is a great, unique way of getting FPL info from a different team. What's one podcast content idea you had but never went through with it? Oh my God, what a question. Wow. The only one I can think, and I'm sure he won't mind me bringing this up now, when we went into lockdown, I wanted to do Champ Man podcast just for Champ Man. And Suj and Manchild weren't keen, and I got outvoted. And they admitted to me a couple of months later that they were wrong and we should have done it. But had we done the podcast, I probably wouldn't have ended up doing the live streams. So win some, lose some. Ideas that we've had that we've never done. I can only think of like stuff I put in a People's Poll podcast and it hasn't won, and we've never got round to coming back to it or something. But a lot of like the losing People's Poll votes, people go, oh, I really like that one, James. We just end up doing it on Patreon now. Fine, you don't want it? We'll do it for the guys on Patreon. I can't think of something specific. We'd say we had an idea for like a weekly show and stopped doing it. Like the quiz, we did a quiz. So I'm not doing the quiz this week because I'm not gonna have time to do a quiz, frankly. So it's actually easier for me to do the Ask James stream for the patrons. But I can't think of anything other than that Champ Man idea that we've ever just completely shelved the idea and no. Invariably, I say to Suj yes, and Suj says yeah, I'm cool with that, and we just go. I can't think of anything. I've never. I guess the one in my back of my, if I started playing Telegraph or something like that, would I do a Telegraph podcast or something like that? But I don't know if it'd be enough demand for it. I think what we've done with Sky is good, and I think actually, although I don't play Telegraph, there's stuff you can take from Sky that's probably quite helpful for that. Good question though, Sam. Thanks. Finn122 says, what do you think of Ballon d'Or rankings? I think it's a popularity contest, mate, and no one really cares about it anymore. Lewis James, where you gone, mate? Told you last week about me opening an Italian restaurant. What is your go-to Italian food? I'm a pizza guy, aren't I? It's Italian food. Is bread, tomato, cheese. That's Italian, isn't it? I do like me a spag bowl, mate. But I wouldn't go to a restaurant and order a spag bowl if that makes sense. I'd try something different. 1M1 go. Brighton versus West Ham combined 11. Here we go. All right, I'll do back four because West Ham normally play with that. Back four. I will go Sanchez in goal. Right back, I'll go Tariq Lamptey. Centre back, I will go Zuma and Dunk. Left back is close, I think. I'm going to go Cresswell at the moment. Because I'm going to see a bit more of Cucurella, but he looks very good. Midfield, Bissouma and Rice. What we got attacking wise? Antonio up front, obviously. Can I put one of the Brighton guys in that three behind? No, I think it'd be the West Ham players. So, Bowen, Fornells, Benrahma. I think that's where I'd be at. The one that annoys me in there to miss out is Adam. A big fan of Adam Lallana as a player. Addy Tour, what do you think about Antonio to Jota in Sky? I think unnecessary. Unnecessary. Come this far with Antonio. Unnecessary. Trying to think if there's a spot where that opens up. Not particularly. Maybe when Liverpool play Tottenham in Gameweek 18, then you're missing some good fixtures. I don't mind it if you're properly frustrated, but excuse me, I'll just stick with Antonio. Next to 7, what's your daily routine? Wake up, work. Take a little break between 6 and 8. Start work again. Go. That's it, basically. Look, I'm not even breaking now, am I? It's 6 o'clock. What's for dinner today? This is Aman Khan. I have no idea. No idea. Addy Tor says, what do you think about Antonio to Jota in Sky? I've missed some questions. Sorry to repeat that. Duff Roses, what was the pint you had on your trip to Burnley? I didn't. I did not have a single beer on Sunday. And the reason I didn't have a single beer on Sunday was because I've had a fucking enough on Saturday, I can assure you. I won't be out late. 3:30 in the morning. Oh dear. No, so I genuinely I didn't need a beer on Sunday. If I'd have ended up meeting Jack Turfy Topper, I would have had a quick pint with him, but I wasn't bothered. I was on my own as well. Kieran Fell, very new dad here, James. My daughter is 5 weeks today. Any tips? Many congrats, my friend. Yeah, you learn on the job. The only thing that matters in the first few years is to keep them alive, and all kids are different. So what works for me and doesn't work for me might be completely the opposite for you. They're all different. You learn as you go. Just love them and look after them as best you can. And enjoy it, mate, because it never comes around again. That's probably the one thing. Enjoy it. Then your child's never that age again, mate. So enjoy it. What no graphics? Trust me, when they get to a teenager, they're a teenager for fucking ages. What no? Because I remember, because I was an arsehole. What no graphics? Non-FPL. If you could put a football-related item into a capsule and launch it to space for an intelligent alien race to discover, what would it be? A goal. This is the first thing that came to mind, actually, rather than a ball. A goal. A goal with the full trimmings, the net, everything. A goal. Be a big capsule though, wouldn't it? Joe Finney Batter, done your Scottish team, just realised it's deadline at 6:45. I am aware, Joe. Thank you for the prompt reminder though, because I may have forgot. Appreciate that. Although I think I did have a look, I might be rolling anyway. Prabesh Sharma says, what is your go-to song to listen to when it's raining and it's miserable? To be honest, I tend to listen to Planet FPL podcasts. I wouldn't say I have any. There isn't anything. Honestly, I hardly listen to music. I couldn't name you one single song from this year. I wouldn't have a Scooby-Doo. I liked quite a bit of American nu metal when I was younger, stuff like Linkin Park and stuff. That would maybe be it. Greg Simpson says, would you change anything about Conte's current team system go-to? No, he knows more than me. He just needs new players. He needs players who can play in that system. Nah. We'll see. I mean, look, it's not really time to judge it yet. It's way too soon. Lewis says, I captain Jota. I shit while standing, baby. Good luck, Lewis. Nicola Torco. Do you wipe your ass while you're standing as well? Nicola Torco says, James, don't answer that. James, if you could watch any team at their home ground outside the Premier League, who would it be and why? Have a great week, mate. Once again, good luck. I could watch any team at their home ground. Do you mean like every week or just like on a one-off? If it's a one-off, I've spoken about La Bombonera and Boca Juniors a number of times. Every week, as in just to watch a team. Arguably Liverpool. The most interesting in terms of variation and stuff. Meninda Priya says, assuming Gallagher is your Sky captain, what would you do if he's not starting tonight? Captain Rafinha, mate. FPL Hitman, cheers. Good luck for the game week, you two, mate. Dan L, your favourite season as a Spurs fan. Sign up for the Patreon, guys. The content is amazing for the price. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. It's a fucking giveaway this month, isn't it? Even I'm gonna big it up. I'm bigging it up this month. Fuck it. You should all be signing up. You should all be signing up on the £3 this month, honestly. Favourite Spurs season by a mile would be the last White Hart Lane season. By a mile. We're going to games now and we're going to rip teams apart. I'm not sure, and I've said this before, I'm not sure it will ever be better than that. In terms of my experience as a fan during the second half of that season was phenomenal. He didn't need the trophy. To add in the emotion of the leaving White Hart Lane, which was a big deal and was upsetting, and I'd never wanted the day to come. I didn't even want Tottenham to win the league that year because I didn't want the end of the season to come and Tottenham not to be at White Hart Lane anymore. I obviously wanted Tottenham to win the league, but you know what I'm saying? I didn't want the end of the season to actually come. I was dreading it. And then it came, and that's it, and you remember it forever and stuff. It's definitely the last season of White Hart Lane. Incredible. 21 wins from 23. the other two drawn. Won every game from mid-October onwards. Fucking phenomenal. And I had some brilliant away trips that season as well. Burnley, Swansea away on a Wednesday night, 1-0 down with a minute to go, and we won 3-1. Fucking hell. Screamed like a girl that night. Alistair Hargreaves, I tried Zaha as a punt a couple of game weeks ago. What do I do with it now? This is every year with Zaha. It's like this. I always say, because Zaha's one of them, you always come round to it, and it's like, with Zaha's got a good 8 game weeks, you know, and you talk yourself into it. I know because I've done this myself, and it's like, fuck, if I buy him, he's gonna be there for 8 game weeks, isn't he? Well, he's there now for tonight, and that's exactly the problem. United away, I want to say, he scored twice in that fixture last year at Old Trafford, and then the fixtures afterwards are superb. He's got to stay. I wouldn't say it's impossible. I wouldn't say it's impossible. He's on my wild card. I'd tell you why I say that, because I've spoken about someone who's a placeholder for me for going back to Rafinha in game week 20. Palace have got an incredible 16 to 20. So I wouldn't rule out Zaha. And again, I've not looked at it properly. I wouldn't rule out Zaha being that guy to me. I suspect it won't be, because I know, Alistair, that I'll be like, yo, fuck, you know, how long is this going to go on for? Shifo says, the wild card with an all African squad of players plus Chelsea as Mendy and Ziyech. Sorry for writing 2 comments. You've wild card with an all African squad? Cool. Stian Bosdale, what's on the menu for the first only state of you, mate? Only James video pod. I'm so excited. It's written, Stian. It's going to be written content for you, mate. So I ain't going to be doing videos at midnight like with my top off. For starters, it's too cold, mate. The musings of an FPL content creator is going to be whatever's on my mind when I sit down at about 11:30 tonight. That's it. I don't know what that's going to be. Today, do you know what? It's probably going to be about my day, because it's been fucking long. And it ain't finished yet. Hafiz says, do you think De Gea will be better than Ramsdale? I'm getting rid of Sarr after the Burnley fixture. Maybe worth the extra money if Ederson sits. Hafiz, my friend, I can't bother to do any more FPL questions, mate. So do I reckon he will be? He might be. Atul says, hey James, it would be cool to have a small competitive non-FPL game between you and Suj every week. Maybe a score prediction for any one game in the game week and total your scores for the season. I suggest you go and follow FPL Bus Team, mate. Because you know we do this shit every week on Patreon, right? For every game. We do loads of competitions. We basically do a free hit team every week. Which I'm winning, by the way. Ross Watson says, hi James, which fantasy game is your favourite and which one do you take the most seriously? Sky. Jose Vargas, who's the better player, Mount or Foden? Love both. Different. It's easy to compare the two, but they are different. Foden, personally. But I rate Mason Mount massively as well. It's not a lot in it. I think Foden's got a little bit of a higher ceiling. Owen said Trossard in the middle behind Anto. Amazing. Patrick Lawson, favourite marsupial. What's a marsupial? Alistair Hargreaves, what do you do for work? I know, I don't mind you asking. Do you think I got time for anything else, buddy? It's this, mate. It's this. He's patron. Come and help me. Jose Vargas, you cook? No, I'm too busy doing podcasts, mate. Phil Baduck, no question, just saying keep up the good work. You're very welcome, mate. Thank you. Duff Roses, you stay strong. I thought you would have needed one after the cancellation. I would drink. Nah. To be honest, my stomach didn't need fuck all either, right? We're walking back through Manchester, pouring it with snow. And there's brilliant open, nothing like Burnley, by the way. This was about half-time of Man City. I was walking through. So I must have got the worst of the snow in Manchester as well. It was nowhere near as bad as Burnley. Because I got on a train at 3:15 out of Manchester. So I was legit walking through Manchester like during half-time of the City game. I got off a train at like 2:35 or 2:40 or something at Manchester Victoria to walk through to Piccadilly. And there's loads of stalls in the city near the Arndale and stuff, like, you know, these pop-up vans and stuff, you know, German food and all that. I was like, oh, I fucking love that. I could eat. Oh, mate, I don't think it would have been a good idea. I'm blaming some candle for everything, mate. Kieran Fell says, thanks, James. Great advice. Loving every day. She's brilliant. All the best, James. And to you, mate. As the Hargrew saying, Ajax, mate. Listen, I've done now. I won my Champions League semi-final. I should probably never go back, mate. Akbar says, any suggestions on realigning a Tony, Hwang and Antonio front line? No money in the bank. I've got no suggestion, mate, because the deadline was 19 minutes ago and I don't really give a fuck about FPL right now. But I wish you well. Kieran OS, City game at White Hart Lane. City game at White Hart Lane. Kieran OS. We talked about the 4-3 we lost. All Stars Club. Did Watkins and Saka to Pookie and Jota. Best of luck for the game week, you too. Stian, I can't read. Can I have a vid, please? No, you can't. Fuck off. Dan says, do you drive? I can imagine you driving Monday with England sticker in the window. No, don't drive. Spent too many years drinking. Ain't got time for that either. Atul says, reminder for the Decision James penalty shootout video. Thank you, Atul. Yeah, we'll get there at some point. Shout out for the patrons. Me and Sid were talking today actually about something football themed as an event, and I don't just mean a podcast. I mean like a get together. Is there things we can do? Not while the weather's like this. Lohan says, going Ben Johnson deep on bench this week. So many flags and uncertainty. Dan's got Ford Mondeo and a couple of asterisks. No, mate. I think my dad had a Ford Mondeo in fairness. But I honestly never had an England sticker or anything like that on the car. My dad's not one who hangs anything or sticks things on. He's an A to B kind of guy, which is what I am. Right, I'll leave it there, guys. I think I got through all your cues. I think so. Yeah, thanks very much. Much appreciated. I hope, in all seriousness, guys, I hope the arrows are green for all of you this week. There's a lot of football over the next 3 days. Enjoy it. Watch what you can. Spread. Have some good evenings. Don't forget your family and stuff. I would generally wait till at least the end of the games Thursday before I thought about making any transfers for game week 15. Rotation's going to hit all of us. Accept it. Accept it. Is what it is. Enjoy the football. Again, December the 1st tomorrow. If you want to support us on Patreon, we'd love to have you with us. If you think, oh shit, I'm going to forget tomorrow, I'll sign up now. Sign up now. I'll give you your money back and then you'll get charged again tomorrow. But we'd love to have you with us. As I said, 22 podcasts from basic tier this month. That's £3. It's about 13.4p a podcast or something. I don't know. Savanch says, hi mate, big fan of the content. We'll be becoming a part of Patreon for tomorrow as well. Yes, Savanch. And Dan L says, thanks James, much love, good luck. Thanks to you all, guys. Sky tomorrow, COTC Thursday. These are the open for free, everyone's. Game week review, all the game week 14 action reviewed on Friday. Deadline stream Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Hope your hours are green. Ciao for now.